welcome to the podcast Vart är vi på väg? And today we are recording a kind of a special episode. We are here to talk about a project that you at Norrsken have launched that is called Actions Against Corona. And in these times at the global pandemic, it's great to be here and talk about these creative solutions that you are trying to support through this. And we are here, as I said, at the Norrsken House today in Stockholm with Funda and Oskar, who works here. And we are excited to talk a bit more about this Actions Against Corona and what it is. And welcome here today.
Yeah, Oskar, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Like my friend told me the other day, physically really well, but mentally I don't know, to be honest. And it's kind of a fluctuating state of not knowing anything, which I think is quite unnerving in a sense. Yeah.
And you, Funda, welcome here. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having us and helping us spread the word about the project that we just initiated. Me, I think I feel, first of all, healthy and hence lucky, thankful, but at the same time quite worried about what's ahead of us. So trying to stay forward-looking, optimist, positive as much as possible.
Yeah, we try that as well to see how can we live through this season and do the best out of it. We have had Erik, the CEO of Norrsken, before in the podcast, and also a lot of the amazing startups that you support, and they are kind of working in this house. So today as you know, we're going to talk about this project that you have launched. But first, we want to know a little bit shortly about you and your role here at Norrsken and a little bit about your background. So, Funda, start.
So I am currently the COO of Norrsken Foundation. Joined the team about 3 years ago as the chief of house here to set up Norrsken House Stockholm. And then now working with our operations, our expansion, partnerships, acceleration. And background-wise, I'm from Turkey. Spent the first half of my life in Turkey, not even like having the opportunity to get out, even for traveling. And then my international journey started during my early 20s. So I've lived in Istanbul, then Melbourne, Lund, Barcelona, Sevilla, San Francisco. I worked a little bit in Egypt, a little bit in India, and then moved to Stockholm, which is a fantastic city to be in. And during that journey, what I ended up doing was basically obtaining a PhD in strategic management, where then I focused on impact ventures and scaling social impact. And then worked as a strategy consultant and incubation program manager to support impact ventures. And then Norrsken happened, and I was like, wow, fantastic.
This was the perfect fit for you.
Yes.
And Oskar, can you tell us a bit about yourself and why you are here?
Yeah. My name is Oskar Malmviklund. I come from a town called Örebro. And I have a little bit of a mixed background. I come mostly from the creative kind of creative industries, if you will. I started off as a graphic designer back in Örebro, realized that, this is something that I can actually do and make money from. And that's kind of where the entrepreneurial spirit was born, in a sense. And I just couldn't stop coming up with ideas and trying to come up with solutions. So started a few companies back in the day and moved up here to Stockholm to study at Hyper Island, where I basically met my former co-founder. We started a company together working here in the Stockholm tech scene, trying to build ecosystems and communities where we kind of support these initiatives. And throughout that journey, we did a lot of really, really interesting and fun stuff. Actually published a book back in 2016 of how you can kind of come to Stockholm as a digital nomad or entrepreneur and start a company here and kind of navigate in this space, in a sense. And actually, when I was running that company, I was sitting at Impact Hub, which is where I met Funda, and we actually became friends. So we knew each other before, and she was the one that kind of roped me in So I was like, sir, yes, sir. I was really, really happy that she reached out, and I ended up here, and it really kind of checks all the boxes that I ever thought I had when it comes to work, basically.
Great. And some may know what Norrsken is and what you are doing, but can you tell us, please, a bit about how this started and the journey from there today?
Absolutely. So Norrsken was founded in towards the end of 2016 by Niklas Adelberth, who is also a co-founder to Klarna. I guess your listeners know about Klarna, a fintech company currently cited as one of the unicorns that came out of Sweden. So Niklas, as he was becoming more and more successful in the traditional sense, his wealth accumulating, things looking up and good, he was at the same time questioning what that wealth was bringing in terms of happiness and whether they were correlated, and also what he would leave behind for his kids. And then started Norrsken Foundation, basically selling part of his shares to Klarna, and then focusing all his effort to what's happening here. And the vision that we have is really to help create a world where solutions grow faster than the problems that we face, which is, I guess, very relevant of a sentence today. And our way of doing it is by enabling entrepreneurs that tackle global challenges by building scalable companies, tech companies that have the impact as the focus. So we're really looking into supporting companies that can actually put profit and impact in the same sentence in a meaningful way.
How has it been to kind of launch this kind of impact hub? I mean, it's still quite new for a lot of people to create these companies with the purpose and the impact kind of focus within the business idea. I mean, investors and everything. I mean, you have really done a good job so far to kind of attract this big money, if you can say. Yeah. How has it been?
Well, it's been a fantastic journey, really. And it really also evolves in a way a startup would evolve. That's why we say that we are very much of a startup at heart. We've really been building this with a mindset that we should complement what's out there and really understand what the need is before we throw in our solutions. So we've been really building everything with that mindset. So we have two sides of the story. We have the VC house, the VC fund that is in-house, and then we have the hub where we have the entrepreneurs. And we're now also introducing accelerator programs that could actually help build these two worlds even more, because then we get entrepreneurs at very early stage, and then we support them throughout their journey, and then hopefully they get funding, not just from us, but also the investor network that we put together here. And to your point, we're just a tiny drop in the ocean. So if we try to do it ourselves, this will not get anywhere. Nothing we do, not this project that we're going to talk about, not this house. So it all has to bring together different types of stakeholders that are in it to tackle these solutions together. That's
And please, Oskar, share a little bit about the expansions that you are kind of fronting right now in a way, like you expand to new countries and new markets.
Yeah, so we're going to open up our second house in Kigali in Q4 of this year, which will be huge, and it's a big challenge for us, but it's an amazing opportunity, and it's really going to be a regional hub in East Africa where we will be able to support the entire region in different ways and kind of supporting the new entrepreneurs that are coming out of there. And we're very opportunistic. We've always kind of taken it as it comes. We've never had this straightforward plan, but basically we go into different projects and different markets when we see that there's a need for what we do. And we really try to understand and listen to what the local communities actually need, rather than coming in and trying to kind of do something that we've already done. It's better to come in with 2 ears and 1 mouth and really listen and understand. But I mean, Funda is leading this work, so
No, but happy to contribute and build on that, actually. I think one of the approaches that we have in those expansion projects is to be as collaborative as possible. So we really start from like day one to start talking to our network and partners to see who else will join us in this cause, basically. And one example to that is that you might have heard of Catapult, like a Norwegian organization that is doing fantastic work also in the impact field. And they've been running a lot of accelerators, and now they will join us in the Kigali house to help build the ecosystem. So it's always with that mentality that's like, how do we do this together?
So it's more, it's really big focus on kind of how can we do it together to make it as good as possible.
Yes.
Not run with your own idea, but share it. And I think that's also something that we hear often with the entrepreneurs, that like, share it and get other people's feedback and so.
Yes, exactly. It's like generally much more collaborative of a mindset in the impact world than you see otherwise.
So Norrsken is a startup in itself, you can say, and this journey have taken you to places that you maybe did not know about when you signed up here. And this new project that you have launched, Actions Against Corona, is maybe not something that you knew that you will do when you started, but can you tell us a bit how this, why are you doing this project?
Yeah, I mean, we always, like I said before, try to be where we are needed. And really one of the kind of core ideas or core mentalities that we have is something called effective altruism, which basically is the concept of how do we make the most good per dollar spent, basically. And I mean, we ourselves are being affected by this, of course, and many others around the world. We're very lucky to be where we are and to be able to be in such a fortunate position where maybe a lot of other people are not. So it's kind of a little bit our, it's an opportunity to show what we can do and really support the initiatives that are out there, because it's not about us. It's about pulling together resources and funneling them to the people that are out there in the front lines really doing the hard work.
So what is it more exactly, the project that you're doing?
Well, I mean, the project is a living organism. It's, I'm sure, going to keep evolving. But the way we started off is that like the needs that we know are critical to the success of an initiative, an idea, a project, or a startup are access to capital, access to talent, access to other resources that might bring them to success, hopefully quickly. So we thought, okay, we can carve out some capital from our fund, or like basically create a bucket of donation that we can support projects out of. That's on the capital side. And then we thought, okay, talent, like how can we make sure that there are a lot of people that will end up unfortunately unemployed or with reduced times, and then there will be a need for those that talent, basically, from the initiative's perspective. So we thought maybe we should build something to match those two together. And then as another like contribution, like one single thing to do is to highlight good cases that are out there, so maybe others want to join and support in different ways. So we said capital, talent, and then exposure are the three main buckets of support. And then with that, we reached out to all our partners, network, and then brought together, I think now, over 50 partners. We have now more than 300 initiatives that signed up, I think.
500 initiatives.
500.
Great.
Yeah, that was my next question. How has the reactions been? I mean, this sounds amazing.
Clearly, Oskar has the updated numbers.
Yeah, I mean, on your auto reply on your email is like, I have so busy times now with this new initiative. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, it's really fantastic to see what we can do as humans when we come together and when we support each other and work collaboratively. And Should also mention that we just launched this a week ago, and we kind of published the campaign within 48 hours of talking about it in our Monday meeting. So everything is kind of happening all at once now, and it feels like it's been months, but it's really been a week. But so far, we've had over 20,000 visitors to the campaign site. We've had multiple articles that are being spread around the world. We have plenty of partners, like Funda said, that are jumping into action and giving their support. We have over 500 initiatives that have reached out to get support or exposure or get connection somehow. We launched a volunteer platform end of last week, and we already have roughly 70 volunteers on there helping initiatives and projects to kind of work on their solutions and kind of give them their time and expertise.
So what can the volunteers contribute with?
So I think it's very up to you as a person. You know, a lot of these initiatives need all kinds of support they can need. Everything from writing grant applications to get funding, to spreading the word and getting more people involved, to developers that can go in and actually build stuff and support, to graphic designers that can put together different kinds of infographics and things like that. So it's really anything.
So it's only been like a week since you launched it, and you told me before that you like dropped everything that you had in your hands and took 48 hours to just work with this.
30 actually, from the point of starting the project to launching, it was 30 hours.
30 hours
Yeah.
from idea to actions.
Yes.
That's great. But how has it been for you personally this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think, so I guess, was it week 12 when we started working from home? We're in week 13 now, right? I think I'm sure it will resonate with a lot of people listening to this. But, we took the decision to work from home and told our members that we would do that, recommended them to do that as well. And then moved home, and like you all of a sudden are in a digital virtual world with your friends and colleagues. And then I think we all entered a like period of denial almost. It's like, no, it's not happening. We keep charging. We do what we do. We need to perform and move the projects forward. And like 1 week passed by with this mindset. And then come the next week or the last week, week 13. And then we were like, okay, we need to do something and really focus our efforts into what matters right now. And then, I mean, ever since, it's been basically a like very fast train that we're all on. It's like also on the professional side, like it sometimes feels like we're. I just read an article about it actually. Like it's almost like work panic situation. You're working so much that's like as if we perform very well, then like it's all going to be passed immediately. So it's a bit of a stress initially, and now like really channeling that to something that actually hopefully matters, really aligned me, at least internally. And of course, there's a lot to worry about. I'm Turkish. My brother lives in Berlin, and so we're already scattered as a family. And then, like I know that people's lives will be impacted. My life is already, or my family's life is already impacted. So it's like with that knowledge, of course, we're trying to basically quiet those feelings down to be able to forward looking.
All these initiatives, do you have like examples of what they are doing? Some of the one you have picked up already?
Yeah, sure. We have lots of different initiatives in all range of topics, most of them being in healthcare and education and wellness. Those are kind of the top 3 categories of people reaching out to us. But it's everything from, communication between doctors and long-term patients. For example, a company or a startup called Sina Care that are actually members of Norrsken House. But something like that can really support and remove stress from the already kind of burdened healthcare system, where doctors can keep continuous communication with their long-term patients and with their frequent patients, for example. So that's one initiative. And then just recently, we decided to donate some money to a couple of initiatives that we saw that are doing some really great work. One of them being a cobot company. So a cobot is a collaborative robot that can basically help the nurses in the healthcare system to perform these coronavirus tests. So that they can alleviate the nurses and kind of put them in more direct situations. So it's very varied, but all of the initiatives that we see are fantastic.
Yeah, so it's a lot of initiatives kind of supporting the by-effects of this this coronavirus.
Exactly.
How would you say if people are listening and see like, oh, I want to do something. What can I do? I'm stuck here in my home for 2 weeks now. Can they be in contact with you and do something?
Yeah, definitely. And there are plenty of solutions out there that need help. So if you don't already have an idea or a startup or something that you're working on, the best thing would be to jump in and to support some of the already existing projects, basically. And that's really what we're trying to do. Put together people, put together partners with startups looking for help, put together volunteers with initiatives that are in need of support, and kind of financing the companies that we see have a direct effect on this. So really your time and your expertise is needed, whatever it is that you do.
Yeah, and these startup ideas, are they like only from Sweden or all around the world?
No, it's from all around the world. Mostly in Sweden, of course, because that's where we have the strongest brand, basically. But we see people from all over the world. There's quite a lot of initiatives from the US, actually, coming in right now.
And if any companies listening to this, can they contribute to some of these projects? Maybe if they have like more expertise. I know you have your own partners that you are working with, but
This is open to all actors, like individuals or organizations that would like to contribute. So it's not an exclusive partners club, but more. Everyone is welcome. Everyone is a change maker. Everyone can contribute. But some of the companies already have, I think, certain volunteer structures that their employees can spend X amount of hours per month on projects that they care about, and those ones some of them have been channeling all of that to this platform if there is interest. So it's a matter of matching those with the right projects, basically. So everyone is welcome to join. And also, I mean, this is basically we are just the initiators of this. And we really hope that it would take a life of its own, and some other actors own it just as much as we do, and then make it their own. Take pride in it and such. So we're not going to own this in that sense.
No, and it's also for the entrepreneurs that have the ideas. It's more about you can also contribute with some money as a donation. It's not about an investment in this case.
We have 2 buckets for this, so they can apply either way to our VC fund, and that would then be a regular investment case. And we have a fast track for these applications. So if there's any corona-related solution, we're happy to look into that from the investment perspective. But then we also thought that we should have a separate bucket for it that we can donate from. And normally, we have not made any donations to date because we do firmly believe that profits and impact can go hand in hand together. However, currently, I think there's so much urgency in what we need to do that we thought it's best to be able to support them with quick capital. And it's really also fast-tracked in that sense that we have one level of filtering process, and then next person is the decision maker. So if we come across good projects, then we basically support them.
Yeah, and the 3 projects that we've now decided to fund or support with financing is a donation, basically. So there's 3 initiatives that we've now decided to pursue and help.
Yeah, and speaking about that with combining impact and also profit, can you share a little bit about that in general? How you do business here? How do you think around this idea of impact investment and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, we're not representing the investment team, so I will be cautious in what I'm saying. But the whole idea is that if you're an impact company, you should basically be producing 1 unit of impact, like with whatever output you have. Like every time you have 1 unit of output, that should come with X unit of impact. So somewhat a business model where impact is inherently embedded in that business model, not as an add-on, not as a nice to have, not you can give up on, but you produce it naturally. So we look at those kinds of companies that have that in their nature. They generate money by bringing impact and then products or services to people's lives. And the way we look at the investment cases is that this needs to be a company that's solving a challenge that matters globally for people or the planet, that they have a fantastic team, like a team of entrepreneurs, and then a scalable product. And what else do they have?
High ethical standards.
High ethical standards, exactly. That needs to be inherent as well. So that's how we pick the companies that we invest in. And the house, basically, Norrsken House, pretty much mimics that to a much lighter extent, basically. So we don't do the thorough DD process that the investment companies do, but we look at the impact potential of a company when we extend our support to those companies.
And I would say in the end, it's really about solving problems. And that's what entrepreneurs and companies do. And I think this is really kind of the major difference when it comes to impact companies, is that they've found a gap in the market. They've found a problem where something is causing more harm to the planet than good. And they come up with solutions to that problem. Whereas maybe in other cases, you might come up with a solution and then try to find a problem to that solution, basically. So I think that's really kind of the shift a little bit in really understanding the problem that you're trying to solve, and in the end create a net positive effect on the planet and on society.
Yeah, and in this crisis that we are facing right now, I mean, many people trust the authorities to solve all the problems, but we have these amazing entrepreneurs out there that you are creating this platform for. Problem solvers that's like equal to entrepreneur. And I mean, the learning curve for you must have been drastic during these times. What do you think you can learn from this crisis with the work you do at Norrsken?
I think like one thing that we're all I think quickly adapting to is adaptability. You know, like when you read about like all those like trends and, you know, robots took our jobs, et cetera, like what we know is that the workforce that actually can remain adaptive are the ones that will actually have a chance of surviving. And like we just entered that a little too quickly, way before we all thought we would enter that space right now in this. So it's really very much mentality of the startup in that sense, that we are constantly iterating on what our world is, what we do, why we do things, what the solution needs to be. And I think that goes for a lot of actors around us. This is not at all just Norrsken, but all the initiatives, all the solutions out there. So we really quickly need to understand, adapt, move forward, understand, adapt, move forward.
And for me, this is a real testament to the entire team in how we can really change our direction in just a matter of few hours and really focus on doing one thing and producing and executing and coming up with solutions and platforms to be able to pull together resources. And exactly to what Funda is saying, you know, it's not about, you know, the product that you have as a company, it's about the problem that you're solving. And the way that you're going to solve that problem is constantly going to change as society changes. And I think this is really a big test for society. And can we change the direction of things? Can we come up with novel and innovative solutions to these existing problems, basically?
And I think it will also be a bit of a, like we're going to go through many different tests, right? Tests of resilience, tests of compassion for each other. Like there's going to be a lot that's going on. And like we have just kind of entered a period of uncertainty and we're coming from many years of abundance of resources of like all sorts, pretty much. So now, how do we deal with this new reality that we're in, and how do we adapt our solutions to those?
I think this entrepreneurial way of working or living, or the lifestyle, I think it's really something that all of us in the society can learn from.
Absolutely.
Like when things are happening, we can't be too focused on doing things the way we always done. We need to be this fast adapting to the changes. The world is changing all the time, and not just for a startup who like has to be like that, but everyone has to be like that to face the challenges and stuff like that. And yeah, I really believe that for the future. I think it's a key to be able to make it through these seasons.
Yeah, and to build on that, I think everyone is also like everyone has the entrepreneurial capacity. Everyone is a change maker, so we can really, within our own influence areas, we can actually make a lot of difference now today by just staying home for some of us, and then for others taking the next steps and joining a solution, others to create solutions. So we have really a lot of options actually to make a difference.
I mean, just one good effect of this that happening now. No one is traveling, and the world is the climate seems to be really good in these times. I mean, in the bad times, it's something good coming, and maybe we can learn in the future. Maybe we need to question, how do we travel?
Yeah,
how can we stop travel so much and take care of the planet more?
I guess, I mean, we're unintentionally creating an experiment situation where we can compare two sets of data, right? Like one we're full on, and then one we stop.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna see like what at least the short-term effects of that.
And where can we find a good balance?
Yeah, exactly.
And more specifically, we haven't told it yet, but where can we find more information about Action Against Corona?
actionagainstcorona.org is
simply as that.
Yes, exactly. So become a partner, become a volunteer, look for capital, look for talent support, look for other resources like you can.
And I saw you have this spreadsheet with all these partners and what they can help with, how much they can help.
Yes, exactly.
Really
so all open information, you're able to reach out to our partners directly.
So we usually end this podcast, Vart är vi på väg, with some advice from our guests, but we have got a lot of great advice today. But the last question would be, who would you like to be interviewed here in the podcast?
I think, I mean, you can approach this, I guess, in two ways. One is like there's a lot of solutions that we see out there that are looking at the immediate effects of Corona, and then also take a long-term perspective, or medium-term perspective at least, where we will see many more issues around like mental health, like future of work, gig economy, financial inclusion and such. And I think we have some examples from both sides, right, Oskar?
Yeah, so I would recommend talking to 29K, especially now. They're a solution working on mental health and well-being and personal growth. So Erik Fanholm, the CEO of 29K, would be really interesting to see on this podcast. And then the initiators behind We Fight COVID. So it's a similar initiative now, trying to kind of rally resources and support the healthcare system. So I think those guys should be on this podcast as well.
Thank you very much. And thank you for talking to us and sharing this great initiative and the work you are doing and have done for several years now. And we wish you all the best and luck with all expansions and the life after Corona as well as during Corona. So good luck with you, and thank you.
Thank you for having us.